Hey everyone, Palantir reported quarterly earnings results that is sending the stock price down as much as 14% following the earnings release. So I'll review those numbers. I'll discuss a little bit about why the stock price is down despite the relatively strong earnings release. And then I'll discuss my recommendation for Palantir stock. I've recommended Palantir stock as a buy to start the year. And then I told investors to take profits, and I'll update that recommendation here after reviewing the results. So I'll go over those step by step and you'll get an understanding of why my recommendations have changed from a buy to hold and up and down, and I'll share with you the changes and the reasoning for those changes. And then I'll finally update where I think the stock stands right now in terms of buy versus hold versus sell. So let's get into the numbers first.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so GAAP net income came in at 106 million, representing a 17% profit margin. That's now the 6th consecutive quarter of GAAP profitability. GAAP stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. These are the standard for profitability metrics. Many companies, and Palantir included, will adjust numbers, right? And there are going to be some numbers I'm going to highlight here that Palantir has adjusted. So I tend to look at GAAP numbers in higher regard instead of adjusted numbers. If I want to see adjusted numbers, I'll adjust the numbers myself. I don't like when a company presents adjusted numbers to me. That shows me what they want me to look at and how they want me to see their company. It's not usually helpful in terms of how I evaluate a company. It's more so to show their numbers in a more what's the word I'm looking for? In a more presentable fashion, in a fashion that's more favorable to the company. So I tend to look over those adjusted numbers in most cases. But, you don't need to look at adjusted numbers with Palantir because they are profitable using GAAP numbers, right? They're GAAP profitable on the bottom line, 6 consecutive quarters, and then 5 consecutive quarters of GAAP income from operation, representing a 13% margin. Really good growth here in profitability from Palantir. And I've been praising this management team in the last 2 to 3 years, keeping costs under control while revenue has grown. And this is all while demand for its services have soared. So they've done a good job with that. Revenue increased by 21% year over year and 4% quarter over quarter to 634 million. What I wanted to see from Palantir in the current quarter is increasing U.S. commercial business and commercial business overall, not just U.S. The U.S. commercial business did very strong. Revenue grew 40% year over year. Commercial customer count grew 69% year over year. But the reason why I look for growth in this segment for Palantir is this is where the big opportunity lies with Palantir stock investors. It's evident that Palantir has strong relationships with governments, U.S. government, and those allied with the U.S. government. That's been clear. What's been less evident is Palantir's growth more broadly with business. And the difficulty for Palantir in gaining broader adoption is the price. It's truly the best-in-class service, but it's so expensive that very few businesses can afford its services. And you could see that it only has 262 customers in U.S. commercial business. That was up 69% year over year and 19% quarter over quarter. So it's growing nicely, and there's a long runway to grow if it can continue to offer great quality while also lowering its cost to serve, making it more accessible for more businesses. And there are millions of businesses in the world. So this is where the big opportunity lies. There's only a limited amount of governments in the world that Palantir can get into. So the business is where there is great opportunity. Remaining deal value grew by 74%, meaning existing customers and new customers are signing deals that are larger and the deal value is growing. That's good news. However, one bad sign for Palantir in the current quarter was non-US commercial business. So they don't talk about that specifically here in this release. What they do tell you is that commercial revenue grew 27% year over year. And you've got to do a couple of steps here, and you'll realize that non-European, non-US commercial business really struggled, because you could see if commercial revenue grew 40%, US commercial revenue grew 40%, but overall commercial revenue only grew 27%. That means non-US commercial revenue was very negative year over year, bringing down the overall commercial growth. So Palantir's struggled with non-US commercial revenue for several consecutive quarters now, and that looks to be a persistent headwind to the business. It's not able to gain traction in business outside of the US business. Cash from operations of $130 million was a 20% margin, and adjusted free cash flow of $149 million came in with a 23% margin. The company's balance sheet has been one very, very bright spot for Palantir, and you could see it here. $3.9 billion in cash and short-term investments. That's roughly $4 billion. That's been rising. And with interest rates at over 5%, Palantir can generate roughly $200 million in income by just investing this cash in super safe government bonds. I'd prefer it not do that. I'd prefer it use this cash to grow the business, to invest in the business, maybe give more friendly terms to some of its customers that would like to buy Palantir service, but they can't afford it. Maybe give them better credit terms and extend payment terms. Use this cash more creatively than just put it in US government bonds, because I, as an investor, can do that myself. I don't need Palantir to do that for me and then take its share for doing that. That's not what I'm paying Palantir's management team to do. I want them to use this capital, invest in the business. Okay, so the stock price, like I mentioned, is down significantly following these earnings results, falling to $21.69. I highlighted that coming into this quarter, I did not have Palantir stock rated as a buy. I did not have it rated as a buy. I had it rated as a hold. In fact, I made this video. Let's see. I made this video on March 22nd when the stock price was $24.59. I told investors to take profits in Palantir stock, and to sell Palantir stock. Earlier in the year, I had recommended Palantir stock as a buy, and the price had exploded by so much. I said, it's a good time, let's take profits. The valuation was getting expensive, and the company wasn't growing profits and cash flow as much as the stock price was increasing. So I felt the stock price was getting ahead of the business. And so I said it's a good time to take profits. And if you listen to that recommendation, you would have sold near the top and you would have avoided this big drawdown here. So now Palantir stock is trading at a forward price to earnings of 55, which is a little bit more favorable valuation than the over 60 it was at when I recommended investors take profits. And given the solid traction Palantir made with US commercial business, I'm a little bit more favorable towards Palantir stock. So I am upgrading Palantir stock here in this video. Previously, I had it rated as a hold coming into the quarter. I'm now upgrading it to a borderline buy. So not completely a buy just yet. The valuation is still a little too rich for me to recommend as a buy, but it's almost there. It's almost there. Another 10% lower or so would have me recommend this at a buy, or another step forward in terms of progress on US commercial business, or maybe a normalization of its outside of US business, the non-US business. If that normalizes and stops declining, that would make me more favorable for Palantir stock. So it's getting there again. The decrease in price along with the progress in performance had me upgrade from a hold to a borderline buy, and I'm making this upgrade on May 7th. Did you know that over 90% of the people that watch my channel are not subscribed? It'll really help support my channel if you hit that subscribe button. And oh, by the way, one of the benefits of being subscribed is that I take requests from subscribers more often than I do from non-subscribers. So if you prefer that benefit, please subscribe to the channel.